Coach Prime travels with Colorado to Nebraska. Let's talk about this underrated rivalry and give a prediction for these two polar opposite teams at the end. Matt Rule loves to run the football. 47 rushing attempts for 223 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 40-7 victory over UTEP. Really impressive stuff considering that the Nebraska offense was the problem last year. Dylan Raiola, true freshman phenom quarterback, steps right in and does a great job of managing this game. He even was able to air the ball out deep and put the ball right on the money for his receivers, connected multiple times on deep balls, but did a good job of sticking with the system and checking the ball down when he needed to. He made the right plays at the right time, which you don't really see that with a freshman quarterback, but he did phenomenal. He works with Patrick Mahomes' coaching group that have trained him over the past 10 or so years, and he looks almost identical to Patrick Mahomes, wears the same number, same haircut, same sunglasses. This guy is just a baby version of him, and he did exactly what he needed to do to win the game for Nebraska last week. And I expect him to continue to do that throughout the season. Now, on the defensive side of the football, Nebraska likes to play slow and physical. And they brought back the majority of their defense last year, who was not the problem for this team. I think they look holistically a little better than they did last year, especially on the offensive side of the football. And I expect them to be competitive in every single game that they play. Now, flip the script. Let's talk about Colorado, who struggled against North Dakota State. Now, they are one of the best FCS teams in football right now, but you gotta beat North Dakota State, especially when people are talking about you're supposed to be so improved from last year. I think that the passing game really did improve. Shedeur Sanders had an almost flawless game, 445 yards in the air. I think 4, maybe 5 touchdowns. Extremely impressive stuff for the Colorado offense, who gave up either the most or second most sacks last year. They only gave up 1 to North Dakota State. But flip onto the defensive side of the football, where they're supposed to be much improved, and they did not look that way at all. There were busted coverages left and right. The line of scrimmage was dominated by North Dakota State. Situationally, they lost third down after third down after third down, and North Dakota State just kept driving the football, which when you play a team like Nebraska who can pound the rock, it is not going to look good for that defense. All that being said, Colorado comes in on the road. I don't know necessarily how they're going to play in this environment, but what I do know is that they were horrendous situationally last game. They could not run the football at all. On a 4th down, they tried to run it up the gut. They got stuffed, loss of 3 yards. And at the end of the game, the time management situation was awful, just god awful. Like, they passed the ball on 1st down with like a minute 40 left in the game. They could have just run it and practically run the entire clock out. They gave the ball back to North Dakota State, who was about 10 yards from scoring and winning the game 32-31. Now, let's go ahead and get into my prediction for this game. Travis Hunter is one of the best players in college football. Might be one of the best football players on the planet, period, right now. 132 yards receiving last game, 3 touchdowns. Played great on the defensive side of the football, one of the bright spots for that defense. I think he'll be an X factor for this game, along with Shedeur Sanders, but they're not going to be able to get stops. I don't think this Nebraska team is going to beat itself offensively quite yet, and so my prediction is that they win this game 34-31. To be honest, I could see this game going either way. When you have the 2 best players in the game on the same team in Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, it's very easy for them to put the team on their back and win this game. But the X factor to me is, can Colorado's defensive line stop the run? If the answer is no, I'm going with Nebraska. If the answer is yes, I truly believe that Colorado can win this game. It's going to be very competitive, but to me, Nebraska controls the pace for the majority of this game. They win 34-31. That's going to do it for this prediction. We've got a couple more coming out. Be sure to stay tuned for that, and we'll see you next time.